Wow.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
They talked about that Soto, and this is where we're going next. Juan,
Yeah.
And we have one Soto meme, though.
Okay,
punch
show that
tag,
one.
where this is my favorite one.
That's because he may not be with the team in 2 weeks.
He's gone in 2 weeks. He's absolutely gone.
Enjoy the moment. I don't buy he's going to get traded.
Yeah, so let's set it up this way.
Yeah.
Juan Soto was off. He's 23 years old. He's I think the premier player in the game today.
One of them, certainly in the conversation.
I got to tell you, I would love it if this guy was on my team. It would make me very happy.
Yeah, sure.
So he was offered a $440 million total package contract for 15 years. It's just under $30 million. Yeah, reportedly.
Yeah.
And I think it's been reported by so many, and the agent certainly didn't shoot it down, and the agent that he has would have if it wasn't true.
Yeah.
The contract's worth just under $30 million, $29.9 million annually. But what was really interesting to me was the length of the contract.
Right.
15 years. You just don't see that, and the reason you don't see that is because players don't come up for their second contract usually until they're 25 or 26. Nobody wants to invest at the earliest.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to invest in someone past their 38, 39 year.
Right. And that would have been the largest contract total money ever. Not average, but total money ever.
So it got me to thinking, is any player in baseball, and by the way, the money Deshaun Watson got guaranteed is close to that.
Yeah. So, what are you talking about? $230 million.
I'm talking about per, if you're talking about per year.
Well, quarterbacks are
his is for 5 years. So if you times that by 3 to get to 15 years, it would have been $700 million.
Right, but a great quarterback is worth a lot more than any baseball player.
But is any baseball player worth $30 million a year?
I don't think so, no.
I mean, you'd know better than I would.
That's the going rate. So listen, you're worth what anybody's willing to pay you. But one baseball player, no matter how good he is, I mean, look at the Angels. You said Soto's the best player in baseball. I think Shohei Ohtani's the best player in baseball.
Yeah, because he does so much.
Because he does both.
By the way, I said that earlier this year, and you were like, "No, he's not." I said, "Yeah." I said, "No." You said he's not. He's not top of either one of his categories.
And
I want to play that tape. I don't know. But anyway,
you did.
But so they have 2 out of the top 10 players, and they still suck.
And they're horrible every year.
But to your point, I mean, when there's no salary cap, if you got the right Russian oligarch or something like that owning your team, then just, you can show
but
$1 billion.
The better way to phrase it is, because you're right, you're worth whatever anybody will write a check for.
Yeah.
Better way to phrase it is, are you of value? I mean, I pulled some numbers that we can talk about this after you guys go around, but $30 million, that's basically what Frankie was asking the Indians, now Guardians, for. And there were fans in this fan base that thought the Guardians blew it by letting him get away.
Well, I thought they should have paid him at the time. Now, obviously, right now, because I don't buy this idea that the Guardians can't afford to have a significantly higher payroll.
Thank you.
I think it's nonsense.
They could, but the facts, it's still a short sample size.
Yeah.
But the player we got for him, one of the players we got for him, who makes less than $1 million a year.
I get that, but it doesn't always work out that way. Usually it doesn't work out that way when you make those trades.
But this one did.
Well, but we didn't know that at the time.
No, but here's what I did know.
Yeah.
A franchise of this size, market size, small market, if they pay one player $30 million, they become the Detroit Tigers.
Only because they're unwilling to raise the payroll to a certain level that they can but refuse to.
They're unwilling to because the market semantics dictate they don't have that kind of money.
I don't believe that.
Well, I know you don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
But when the Dolans took on an owner a couple of weeks ago, they took on that owner because they're not fluid. Everybody says, oh, the Dolans are worth $1 billion. Yeah, the team they own is worth $1 billion. They don't have fluid assets
Well, we don't know what they have.
Well, take a look at what they're spending.
Right, but they may just be spending that because they don't want to spend. My theory is the Yankees could have a $500 million payroll.
I don't know what Dolan's finances are.
Right, nobody knows. But this idea that I don't believe. Nobody puts their books out there. We have no idea how much money.
We don't.
Right. So in my opinion, they could afford to spend almost whatever they want. I think, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's how I see it.
I strongly disagree.
So not as much as the Yankees.
They're not taking on another owner if they don't need the financial help. That's what that move is about.
Do the Yankees not have any minority owners?
I can't tell you what the. I don't know.
I never. When a billionaire tells me he doesn't have enough money to spend, even a multimillionaire, I will never believe it.
That's your prerogative.
I kind of compare it to this. If I'm starting a restaurant, right? I'm messing around. I'm getting a restaurant. And I tell the people that come in, hey, you know what? I really ain't got it yet. I really ain't got it yet. So my waiters are going to be terrible. My food is going to be C+. It's not going to be great. And my service is going to be a little shabby because I don't have enough people to staff, right? So when people come in your restaurant, your first impression is, let me look at your decor. Oh, man, it's kind of drab in here. I don't really like the food, and I got slow service. They may not come back.
Not a good product.
They may not come back before you can even get the money in the coffers to spend to go ahead and elevate your stuff, right? So it's a catch-22. It's like, hey, I really want people to show up and come to the ballpark and patronize my team, but your fans and your fair weather fans, it's not the diehards that get it. It's the people on the outside, the tertiary guys.
How'd that Nolan Arenado trade turn out for the Diamondbacks?
Listen, how did any of these $30 million
or for the Rockies? I'm sorry.
I'll tell you right now why I love that the Indians did not sign Frankie. The top 10 players in baseball right now, paid, top 10, have won combined 6 World Series. None of them have won more than 1. Garrett Cole.
Yeah, but Garrett Cole's been on the Yankees 1 year.
I know he has.
Yeah.
But he won 1. He's the second highest paid player in the game.
Right, but he only became that when he signed with the Yankees.
All of these guys became that after they had their breakout season. Frankie's got his contract because he took a mediocre franchise with a subpar payroll to the World Series, and he was the face of that franchise. Right, so but when you look at this list, all of these guys, Mike Trout, third highest paid player in the game, he's never won a playoff game.
I mean, let me ask you a question with those people right there. Where I would like to see a correlation between the amount of money they make and attendance.
Yeah, that's not apples to apples because all of these play in big markets. First, I'll read the cities: New York, L.A., Minnesota, and experts are killing them for making that Correa deal because it's just in a market like Minnesota, it's hard to monetize that. The other ones: Washington, L.A., New York, L.A., Texas, who went on a spending spree that all of baseball was shocked by. What are they doing? And then St. Louis, Nolan Arenado.
Here's a real question.
But
and those guys, and are any of those guys not performing?
Some of these guys, Frankie Lindor is not performing to a $34 million a year.
This is a larger
well,
question.
He's having a borderline all-star
year. Not having a $34
larger question about the salary cap.
$34 million a year season.
Larger question about the salary cap. You guys educate me.
Yeah. There is no salary cap.
I mean, the lack of salary cap. The lack of salary cap.
There's a tax.
About how they fund these teams.
Yeah.
And my question is, should any of these owners, when you know that you have to have a lot of money to put into this if you want to get some kind of a,
talk to
you
me.
know, if
I already know where you're going with this.
Any of these owners willingly go into this, knowing that your livelihood is dependent upon the success of your baseball team in order to get by. These should be luxuries. These should be yachts for rich guys.
Well,
these should be toys.
There should be a salary floor in baseball.
For the same reason that Elon is going to space for no damn reason because he's rich and bored.
Right.
Rich dudes or people should own these teams and then just fund them for our enjoyment.
So here's
why are we like, oh, we got to sell more hot dogs?
But here's the
come
problem
on.
with
Right.
that.
Ridiculous.
You're talking about a group of people. They do have a very strict, before anybody becomes an owner, they are vetted up one side and down the other. Mark Cuban was a guy that wanted desperately to own a team. He wanted to buy the Cubs.
Right.
And Cubs fans wanted him to buy it for the very reason you're talking about.
Yes.
This dude will win. We saw what he did with the Mavericks. He's going to come in, spend a lot of money, get the best players, and we're going to finally win a World Series. Major League Baseball said, not the kind of guy we want to do business with. Remember, Mark Cuban was very
controversial. Pressure on the other owners, the cheap owners,
to spend their
players. Now, that's not why.
The Dolans are like, we don't want him in the mix.
No, that's not why he didn't get approved. He didn't get approved primarily because at the time, he's changed I think his persona is much different now than it was. You'll remember a time when Mark Cuban was getting fined $1 million per episode, and it was like nothing. He was flipping off the refs. He was making disparaging comments about the refs.
Yeah, but Jay, I agree with you.
Baseball owners said, we don't want someone that's going to tear our sport down from the inside.
As usual, baseball was stupid. They should have brought Mark Cuban.
I couldn't agree more. I wish they would have.
And I agree that that's a big part of why they didn't. But I also think it's because the cheap owners said he's going to put pressure on us to spend money.
Bad.
Look,
I like that.
The notion,
don't get in the game if you can't afford to be in the game.
Yeah.
Well, the notion that these guys with that kind of money are falling out of trees that are interested in buying pro sports teams, because for the most part, pro sports teams are losing ventures until you sell. These guys are owning them for one reason. Well, a couple of reasons, but one main reason is Their egos. They want
But how do we know that, Jay? How do we know that?
Just history. Why is Jerry Jones owner of the Dallas Cowboys? What does Jerry Jones love more than anything in the world? He's never met a camera he wouldn't stop and talk to.
But he hasn't made a ton of money.
Now, then you've got guys like the Rooneys and the Maras, and even in baseball, there are other ownership groups. And I think our ownership group, I know that they take a lot of heat for not spending money. They own a team the way an owner should. Find good people that know the business and empower them to do their jobs.
I have always given the Indians, now Guardians, credit. They hire good people and stay out of their way.
Their front office is the best in baseball.
However,
if they have some money,
it's one of the best. I don't know if you clearly say it's the best. I mean, Tampa Bay's done even more with less.
Tampa Bay is right there with the Guardians.
Tampa Bay's done more with less.
In my view.
Tampa Bay's had a lower payroll than the Guardians every year for the last decade, except for one.
Yeah, they have.
So I would put them number one, but it doesn't matter. It's semantics.
It is.
The Guardians
I'm not trading our front office for anybody.
No, you wouldn't. They're right there. It's one of the elite front offices in
Definitely.
baseball.
But you know,
however, the owner deserves, credit for that.
Yeah.
He deserves a ton of criticism for his lack of spending, including recent years.
And this is my stat that I always use when I defend the Dolans, but it's true, so I'll use it again. No team for the last 10 years in the American League has won more than the Guardians.
Yeah, but 10 other teams have won the World Series, and the Guardians
haven't. Of course they have, because that's the ultimate prize. But as you know, when you get into that, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what's going to happen when you get to the playoffs. The best team does not always win.
But they have only won one round of. They've only gotten past the first round of the playoffs once.
I would also say, when you talk about they're not making money, or they don't really make any money till you sell. If you're doing investments, there's some investments that you do. Most investments aren't liquid. You're not getting monthly income from investments. These are long-term investments.
Yeah, they're not making money. Trust me. The Dolans are not making money.
But when you cash out, watch this. When you cash out, you bought it for what? 300? Would that be?
Sure.
300? They're going to get 1.5, 1.6
and
billion.
That's what to my point at the beginning. These guys are buying these teams knowing that they're going to have to lose and use a lot of their own money. But at the end of the rainbow, when they sell, that's when they really cash out.
So we should not feel bad for them.
No, I don't feel bad for any owner that claims to be losing money.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I personally don't believe it. Nobody can prove it to me.
When you look at the
that
local,
they're losing money.
I don't think I don't think any team should have a geographic advantage. I think if you really want to create a fair league, and this is why the NFL is the most popular league, they've never left markets behind. And by that, I mean by splitting the national TV money 32 ways, everybody has the same chance. And there's a limit on what you can spend. That makes the NFL relevant in 28 of the 32 cities every single year.
I agree.
Although more teams have won a World Series, more different teams have won a World Series than the Super Bowl.
And that goes to my point that it's a crapshoot. Anything can happen once you get there.
Yes.
But in the NFL, I think in large part the best team usually, not always, usually wins. But not always.
What you got, McNuggets?
Well.